a little bit different. Obviously, I haven't decided to set up my tripod, but anyway, hello there everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name of course is Elliot Webber and welcome to what is technically part 2 of my 2024 Btcc lineup predictions. Of course, if you didn't see my post on Facebook or Twitter or X or whatever it's called now, I said that my predictions video would be split into 2 videos. This is just because the original video would have been well over 40 minutes and I just didn't want it to be that long. So yeah, I thought it'd just be easier to do it in 2 parts. If you haven't watched the first part already, it's already out on my channel. So yeah, be sure to go check that out. If not, I will leave a link to it in the top of the comment section. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And now let's get on to the rest of the predictions. So the One Motorsport Honda crew. Now, first of all, I'm going to predict a much better season for them next year, and I really hope so, because this was undoubtedly the most disappointing season for One Motorsport. Of course, despite the fact that they did win the Independence Championship with Josh Cook, I think that was more down to the fact that Josh Cook is just that great of a driver in Btcc. Josh Cook was actually winless for the first time, I think, since 2017, for the first time since 2017, so almost 6 years that Josh Cook has been winless, and that should not be happening. You know, Josh Cook, despite the fact it took him quite a while to win a race in Btcc, Josh Cook is one of the best touring car drivers on the grid, if not the world. So yeah, an absolute crime that Josh Cook didn't win a race in 2023, which is why I am unfortunately predicting he will not be back at One Motorsport for 2024. I think he's been at that team since 2019, of course, since they were known as BTC Racing. And I just think that Josh Cook now, I think, is going to go to the team and go, look, you can't give me a race-winning car, let alone a championship-winning one. Technically, it did win a championship, the Independence Championship, but not the championship that Josh Cook wants to win. Josh Cook has said countless times that he now wants a manufacturer deal, a manufacturer seat. Could that mean he could be on his way to accelerate, potentially? I know that some people have said that could happen, but again, who knows at this point? Again, a disclaimer, these are all going to be wrong, probably. But yeah, so yeah, I don't see Josh Cook coming back next year, unfortunately, but I do see him going elsewhere, and I will get into that for the last team in this video. So yeah, anyway, who do I think will be at One Motorsport though? I think Aidan Moffat's going to come back, despite the fact that I know he was very disappointed with himself this year. He wasn't very happy, but I'm sure he was happy in that last race of the season where he had a pint of beer with him. But anyway, yeah, it's disappointing for someone like Aidan. I'm a big fan of Aidan Moffat. I've met him countless times over the years, and he's always such a nice guy. So yeah, a big shame for Aidan Moffat to have such a disappointing season, despite the fact he did have a podium at Thruxton. But yeah, but I do think that Aidan will come back. I think his sponsors, who of course one of them, Starline Automotive, were sponsoring One Motorsport, so I do think that sponsorship-wise, that could be the reason that Aidan comes back. And I just don't see Aidan going elsewhere at the minute. There's not a lot of seats due to the fact that a few teams have left over the past few years. But even so, I don't see Aidan going elsewhere. And I do think at least another season would do Aidan some good. Of course, we know he's had multiple years in rear-wheel drive. Moving to the Honda Civic FK8 was the first time since 2019 that he's had a front-wheel drive car, which yeah, so I definitely see Aidan coming back for at least one more year at One Motorsport. Joining him again, this time for another full season, is Jade Edwards. I think Jade Edwards is going to come back to One Motorsport, and again, because honestly, I actually think 2023 was her best season. Now, despite the fact that she did not score any points this year, that, you know, you can look at the standings, you can see she finished almost plumb dead last without scoring any points, but I definitely think you have to put those results into the context that they deserve. I'm going to talk about, firstly, when she was at Team Hard 2023, she actually swapped teams. She moved from Team Hard back to One Motorsport halfway through the year. But I do think that move did her some good. I think as soon as she got back in that Honda, her performances improved. So yeah, and again, I'm once again going to talk about that final race. That last race of the season, race 30, Jade Edwards was running in the top 10. It would have been her best ever finish in BTCC before she was taken out by George Gamble. A massive shame. That was extremely unlucky. That was not her fault. Jade fully deserved that top 10, fully deserved that points finish, which is why I think if Jade Edwards does come back next year, and I actually really hope she does, I hope that Jade can finally get more than just 1 point per season. Of course, she scored, I think, 3 in 2022 with a best result of 14th, I think, that being her best ever finish. But I definitely think if she sticks on One Motorsport, if One Motorsport improve the car, which I really hope they do, because realistically, the car was rotten this year. But yeah, I think Jade Edwards coming back for another year, and I definitely think that Jade will get more points, will get her best ever finish, and maybe, just maybe, get a top 10 like she deserved at the Brands finale. But anyway, those are my 2 One Motorsport drivers, but there is, of course, a third driver that I'm going to predict, and I'm going to predict Bobby Thompson. Yeah, that is right. I'm predicting Bobby Thompson to come back. It was, in fact, a last-minute change of predictions I made. I originally predicted Bobby to be at Toyota, but then I thought, I don't, maybe not. I think, I don't know, there's something about Bobby Thompson in a Honda that I really want to see. But yeah, I don't know. I don't see Bobby Thompson at Team Hard, but I definitely see Bobby Thompson back next year. Of course, he missed half of the season due to budget. He was dropped by Team Hard because of budget reasons, and then he came back in the last couple of rounds, which is great to see. Bobby Thompson, arguably, had he done the full season, probably would have won a race. Of course, he achieved the podium this year. Achieved actually 2 podiums this year, I should say, because he got another one at the Brands finale. But yeah, Bobby Thompson has race-winning potential. He just needs a better car. And yeah, which is why I'm going to say, if One Motorsport do get that car together for next year, no doubt, if Bobby Thompson's there, he will be podiums. He will hopefully win races. Bobby needs to win a race. I think he's becoming a bit like Lando Norris. He just needs to get that race win. But yeah, I'm going to predict Bobby Thompson, Aidan Moffat and Jade Edwards to One Motorsport. Now let's move on to Power Max Racing. So Power Max Racing, of course, one of their drivers already confirmed. Aaron Taylor-Smith, of course, I made that video a few weeks ago. Aaron Taylor-Smith confirmed to be returning. And again, as I mentioned in the video, great move for him. Of course, achieved the podium at Silverstone. Arguably could have won that race had he not been racing against Ash Sutton. But yeah, Aaron, again, as I mentioned, I really like the guy. He's one of my favourites, and there's not much to say other than go check out my video that I made on the announcement. So yeah, of course, Aaron is already confirmed, and I would have predicted him to come back at Power Max anyway. So yeah, as for his teammates, once again, I'm predicting 3 cars for Power Max Racing, and once again, I'm actually going to predict that they are going to keep using the Vauxhall Astra, because that Astra was actually really good in 2023. Of course, didn't win any races, but it did get some podiums. Of course, technically 3, with 2 with Andrew Watson and 1 for Aaron Taylor-Smith. Not only that, it got a pole position. Go back to Silverstone, where Mikey Doble put the car on pole position. And that was a massive shock to the system, because not only was it Mikey Doble in his rookie season getting a pole position, it was a 6-year-old Vauxhall Astra getting a pole position. So yeah, a phenomenal job by the Power Max guys to make that car competitive again. Of course, as I mentioned earlier, Andrew Watson won the Jack Sears Trophy with that car. So a great job by Power Max Racing, which is why I'm predicting they're going to keep the Vauxhall. Of course, Taylor-Smith is back, and I'm going to predict Mikey Doble is going to come back. Purely for the fact is, once again, I don't see him going anywhere else. Plus, he had a great rookie season. Of course, I believe his season was sort of overshadowed by Andrew Watson, his teammate winning the Jack Sears Trophy, and of course, Roden Pearson having some standout performances as well. But no doubt, Mikey Doble was, of course, as well, one of the best rookies this year. And I'm predicting him to come back. And once again, if that Vauxhall keeps on improving and Mikey Doble keeps on improving, no doubt we're going to see Mikey Doble getting more pole positions, getting his first podiums. And again, who knows? Maybe there's a race win on the cards there for Mikey Doble. So I'm once again going to predict Mikey Doble to come back. And now I'm going to predict another return at Power Max Racing. You can probably already guess who it is by the fact that this man has already raced for Power Max Racing before. He took a year out in 2023. Yeah, that is right. I'm predicting Ash Hand is going to return to the BTCC in 2024. He said he took a year out this year to focus on other things. As well, I do think there was some budget issues in there, but I think a year out, he actually was doing some behind-the-scenes stuff with Power Max Racing, so I'm guessing he must have been coaching Doble and Watson and people like that, helping behind the scenes with setups and whatnot. So I do think that Ashan is going to return, and I do think he's going to have an even better season than his rookie season in BTCC. Ashan, of course, is someone who, let's be honest, should have debuted years before 2022. Ashan, of course, was one of those Clio Cup guys who, when the Clio Cup was on, you know, show stealing as always was the Clio Cup. So yeah, that is my Power Max predictions for 2024. Aaron Taylor-Smith, who of course is confirmed, Mikey Doble and Ashan. Now let's move on to the penultimate team in this, Team Hard. Now Team Hard is undoubtedly going to be the most unpredictable lineup to predict this year, no doubt about it. Of course, with the rotational merry-go-round of drivers that they seemingly bring in over the course of each season. Of course, this year I think they had about 8 or 9 drivers this year. Of course, some for more understandable reasons than others. Of course, a lot of them only had the budget for a few rounds, so a lot of them were just substitutes like Rob Huff, like James Gornall. But yeah, other than that, yeah, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, for a less merry-go-round, and we see a lot more, and we see a more permanent lineup at Team Hard. And I'm going to predict that. I think all 5 of these drivers are going to stay put for the full season. Yeah, I'm predicting 5 drivers at Team Hard. Originally, it was going to be 4, but then I thought, no, there is one driver who deserves to be on the grid, so I'm going to put him. I'm going to very last minute stick him in there. I'm not going to divide this into which lineups are going to be where. Like, for example, of course, as we know, there is a limit on how many teams, on how many cars a team can run. Of course, technically, you can run I think you can run a maximum of 6. I'm going to guess so, because Team Hard ran 6 this year. But yeah, I'm just going to predict 5, I think, just to keep it not as chaotic. Plus, I am predicting a new team, and I'll get into that after Team Hard. So yeah, so my lineup for Team Hard is going to be Dexter Patterson, Daryl DeLeon, Dan Lloyd, Michael Crease, and Dan Zelos. Yep. That is right, those are my 5 drivers for Team Hard, 4 of them returning and 1 new rookie, yep, in Dan Zelos. First of all, I'm going to talk about Dexter Patterson. Patterson had a great season at Team Hard, of course, achieved his best ever finish in 2023 at Knockhill with 6th place. A brilliant result for Dexter Patterson, someone who, despite his age, is seemingly improving year on year. Of course, 2023 was his 2nd ever season in BTCC after moving up from GB3, or formerly British F3. Yeah, no doubt in my mind that Dexter's going to come back at Team Hard. Again, I don't see him going anywhere else. As for Daryl DeLeon, I think was actually really, really impressive, considering he only had about half the season to learn the car. Of course, Daryl DeLeon, similar to Dexter Patterson, was coming up through a single-seater season. Of course, in 2022, Daryl DeLeon was racing in GB4. Well, I think he was quite successful. Of course, Daryl DeLeon as well. I think he's about 18, so he is in fact younger than me. Makes me feel old. But yeah, Daryl DeLeon. In fact, Daryl DeLeon scored points this year in what was basically half a season of BTCC, and I think if he can score points in his half rookie season, and what can he do with a full season under his belt in BTCC? So I'm once again going to say that Daryl DeLeon's going to come back. He fully deserves it as well, because I think that kid's got potential. So I'd love to see Daryl DeLeon back for a full season. As for Dan Lloyd, I mean, come on, I think he's going to stay. He's undoubtedly the best driver. I think, other than Bobby Thompson, Dan Lloyd was the best driver at Team Hard, and of course, aside from Rob Huff, but Rob Huff did a one-off. So yeah, Dan Lloyd, no reason to change. I don't see him going anywhere else, unless, of course, he gets a manufacturer drive somewhere. But yeah, I don't see Dan Lloyd going anywhere else. As same for Michael Crease. Creasy came back this year as well. Again, I don't see him going anywhere else. He's even talked about saying that Team Hard is sort of his home in BTCC. Of course, he tried some different racing in 2023. Originally was going to do a full season of British GT, but then that deal fell through, and he halfway through the year, so he came back to BTCC. And yeah, I'm just going to predict Michael Crease to come back. Again, I don't see him going anywhere else. And then as for Dan Lloyd, now this is more wishful thinking than a prediction, but I am just going to say this. Dan Lloyd deserves to be on the BTCC grid. I've said this for about 3 years now, ever since he won the 2021 Mini Championship. Dan Lloyd has been deserving of a BTCC drive for at least 3 years. And if he isn't on the grid in 2024, then something has to be done about money, about sponsors, because Dan Lloyd, especially after this year's Mini Championship win, which was his second ever Mini Championship win, I will be extremely surprised. He dominated the Mini Challenge, as expected as well, given the fact that a lot of people are going to agree with me here. Dan Zelos is fully deserving of a BTCC drive, and I really hope a team like Accelerate, like maybe PowerMax, like hopefully Team Hard, who have a great track record of bringing in young drivers like Patterson, like Daryl DeLeon. I really hope Dan Zelos gets a BTCC drive next year. So that is my 5 Team Hard cars. Now let's move in to the final and mystery team that I am predicting for 2024. Once again, this is more wishful thinking. This is more me going, please, this needs to happen. This team needs to come back to BTCC. Some of you are probably watching this going, yeah, we know who it is already. We know what team you're talking about, Elliot. Come on. Yeah, I'm just going to get it straight in now. It's more, I want this to happen, rather I think this is going to happen, but I'm just going to put this in the video anyway. I hope Team Dynamics come back next year, 2024, with a new lineup and a new car. Screw it. I am going to predict Team Dynamics to come back. I'm going to predict Honda come back as well, factory backing, and I'm going to predict Team Dynamics are going to use the brand new shape Honda Civic Type R FL5. This needs to happen. I want it to happen so badly. I'm just going to predict it. So yeah, new Honda, new car. Team Dynamics are back, hopefully. Honda are back as well, hopefully. Who knows? Maybe even a partnership with Yas Motorsport could work. I'd love to see Yas Motorsport back in BTCC, running the Hondas with Team Dynamics. And I just hope. I hope. So yeah, as for the lineup, well, it's sort of a new lineup. It sort of isn't, because there's a new driver in that team and there's a returning driver in that team. And I'm going to talk about the new driver for Team Dynamics first. I'm going to predict that Josh Cook is going to move to Team Dynamics if they return. As I mentioned, Josh Cook needs a factory drive in BTCC. He needs a legitimate championship contending car. At the minute, it seems to be that's only going to be a Ford, a Hyundai, or a BMW. And I don't see him going to BMW, don't see him going to Ford anytime soon. So it seems like the only one right now for Josh Cook to move to is Hyundai, unless Honda come back with the FL5 fully developed after a few years in TCR developing it. I fully hope and I fully believe that Honda are going to come back at some point with the FL5, and I really, really hope it's with Team Dynamics, because I don't know if I've mentioned already, I love Team Dynamics. They're my favourite team. But But I so hope that it happens. And yeah, Josh Cook would be my first driver if they were to return next year. As for the returning driver, the second driver at Team Dynamics, I'm going to predict Gordon Shedden to come back. Once again, my all-time favourite BTCC driver, for those who don't know. So yeah, if Dynamics were to return, no doubt Gordon Shedden would be there. A legend of the sport, a legend of the team. And I think the deadly duo of Cook and Shedden is a championship contending side. I don't think Gordon Shedden no longer has what it takes to win a championship. I do think that Shedden is now slowly losing that mojo of his, despite the fact he had a brilliant 2022 season. But yeah, I just think that Josh Cook and Gordon Shedden in the same team, in a new car with Team Dynamics, needs to happen, because people see, I think a few people have forgotten that Team Dynamics is one of the greatest teams in touring car history, and we just need that Team Dynamics of old back. We need the FK, what was it called? I can't remember, but we need the 2015 Team Dynamics. We need the 2016 one. We just need it. Also, go back to red, please, as well. I'm sick of the black liveries. Go back to red, Team Dynamics, red and white with the Honda colours, hopefully. But yeah, so those are my predictions, not just for Team Dynamics, but for the entirety of the 2024 BTCC grid. Again, as I've mentioned earlier, these are all going to be wrong come April 2024, but no doubt I will be covering all the announcements that will be made across the winter and early spring. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. What are your predictions for the 2024 BTCC season? Who do you see going where? Do you think that some drivers are going to leave? Do you think some drivers are going to return? Do you think this driver is going to move to that team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Of course, if you are new around here, be sure to like this video, share with your mates as well, because it of course does help my channel grow. And of course, press that subscribe button, because we are firmly on the road to 200 subscribers. I really hope we can achieve just a few more subscribers by the end of 2023, if not by the end of January, just to extend it a little bit. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this once again extremely long video. Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.